functional things, the basis for time, be truly existent? It follows that they are not because of not having inherent duration. How could they have inherent duration, since they are continually consumed by impermanence? Moreover, if they had inherent duration at the start, they would not grow old in the end, because that which is inherently existent cannot cease. Furthermore, there is no inherent duration, for just as a single moment of consciousness does not apprehend two consecutive objects actually presenting their own likenesses, two consecutive moments of consciousness do not apprehend a single object simultaneously, for they undergo momentary production and disintegration. Objection: well, that contradicts the assertion in the Sutras of knowledge that the five objects such as visual form are each apprehended by two kinds of consciousness.
Answer: if one does not accept momentary disintegration, one is not a Buddhist. If one does, the object of observation of a visual consciousness cannot act as object of observation for a subsequently arising consciousness. The sutra passage means that the visual consciousness cognizes the form clearly and the mental consciousness which is produced subsequently cognizes it in an unclear way. Assertion: duration has inherent existence because of being the characteristic of present time.
Answer: if time and duration are different and have an inherently established relationship, they must act as basis and that which is based upon it. If duration relies on time as something separate, duration is not time because they are mutually exclusive. If time does not have duration, then without duration there cannot finally be disintegration. Therefore, since time does not have inherent duration, the latter is unsuitable as the presence characteristic. Assertion: duration exists because there are impermanent things that have duration.
Answer: if impermanence and functional things are separate in nature, it follows that things are not impermanent. If this is accepted, they must be permanent. If things and impermanence are one, since precisely that which is impermanent is a functional thing, how can they have inherent duration? Duration is impossible. Assertion: while things continue to exist, duration is stronger and impermanence weaker, but it is not impossible for the weak to overcome the strong.
Answer: how can such a reversal be seen when things later finally become impermanent? It follows that it is unfeasible. If duration is not weaker because impermanence is weaker while things continue to exist, nothing can harm what has inherent strength. If impermanence is not weaker and is present in functional things at all times, it follows that all functional things do not have inherent duration, for impermanence, which overrides it, is always present. Alternatively, if not all things are impermanent, it follows that those which are not are permanent, because impermanence is weaker and duration has inherent strength. Furthermore, does impermanence arise together with the products it characterizes or does it arise later?
If there is always impermanence because that which is characterized and its characteristic are inevitably concomitant, it follows that duration is not inherently existent. Alternatively, having been permanent, a thing would later become impermanent, and if it remained for a second moment, it would be permanent. Yet one thing cannot be both permanent and impermanent. The characteristics of products are concomitant with one another. Thus, if one accepts that the duration of a thing's existence and the impermanence of its existence are simultaneously of one nature with a thing, either it is wrong that things are impermanent or else inherent duration is a fallacy. These two can exist together in false products, which do not exist as they appear, but cannot have a common locus in truly existent functional things. Assertion: time exists because there is past time, depending on past products. If that were not so, it would be impossible to remember past rebirths, thinking that one was this or that in the past.
Answer: this proof of time's true existence is also without the slightest substance. Memory focuses on an object which one has experienced. Though things seen previously do not reappear later, and though awareness observing objects belonging to a past rebirth does not occur again, memory arises with a sense of seeing as one sees present objects. Memory which is in fact mistaken and deceived arises in relation to a so-called remembered object which is false and deceptive like an optical illusion. However, we do not deny that memory focusing on past objects arises dependently. This is certainly accepted in our own system. The summarizing stanza: this is the 11th chapter from the 400 on the yogic deeds, showing how to meditate on refuting time. This concludes the commentary on the 11th chapter. showing how to meditate on refuting time, from Essence of Good Explanations, explanation of the 400 on the yogic deeds of Bodhisattvas.